Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 2 Kings, the 10th chapter, and pretty much a continuation of Jehu's initial reign, right? As we read in the 9th chapter, we witnessed Jehu being anointed king over Israel, and then his elimination of Joram and Ahaziah, right? The king of the northern kingdom, Joram, and the king of the southern kingdom, Ahaziah, at that point, and also the death of Jezebel, okay, according to what was prophesied against her by Elijah the prophet. So in the 10th chapter, we sort of go on and see how Jehu continues to pretty much fulfill the burden that was prophesied against the house of Ahab here in this chapter. Now, something else, I'm going to pull this up here on the side, and this is it's called the Black Obelisk. The Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III. I think we might have gone into it before, but I want to pull it up again. And I think this is around the time of Jehu, but just to make sure here. So just a quick, a brief blurb here as to what exactly is the Black Obelisk. So it says here, the Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III is a black limestone Neo-Assyrian sculpture with many scenes in bas relief and inscriptions. It comes from Nimrud, ancient Kalhu, in northern Iraq, and commemorates the deeds of King Shalmaneser III. And they place his reign here around 588 to 524 BC. Now let's actually look up Jehu, king of Israel. And so here we see that Jehu's reign, right, is right about 845 to 814. So that overlaps with Shalmaneser III. And you can see here, there's an image here, right? It says the tribute of Jehu of the people of the land of Omri, depicted on the Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III. All right. And so when we go back here, that's pretty much what I'm trying to pinpoint exactly. So anyway, it says here, it is on display at the British Museum in London, and several other museums have cast replicas. And pretty much what this is an archaeological find, right? In the ancient world, they didn't record TikTok videos, they didn't record news clips, they didn't do videos, they didn't have that technology. So the way that they would record certain information is through inscriptions and building things like this, and even on like sarcophagi or sarcophagus. But you can see this inscription on the stone, otherwise known as the Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III, depicts images and some descriptions about the notable deeds and feats that Shalmaneser III had accomplished. And on this, right, which is a physical, actual find, on this is located or mentioned Jehu, as we're about to read over here. So this is an extra biblical secular account of a biblical character here, Jehu, the king of Israel, right, which was from the point of view of the Assyrians over here, that they have over there. So you have certain individuals that try to say, hey, the Bible is this, or it's a fable, or so on and so forth. But these archaeological finds show you some context other than the scriptures that validate or give you a cross-reference as to what is being mentioned of in the scriptures, whether it's certain individuals and so on and so forth. So let's read this real quick. It says, it is one of two complete Neo-Assyrian obelisks yet discovered. The other one being a much earlier white obelisk of Ashur-nasirpal I, and is historically significant because it is thought to display the earliest ancient depiction of a biblical figure, Jehu, king of Israel. the traditional identification of Yao as Jehu, because remember, in the Hebrew there is no U sound and there is no J sound there. It's just Ah and I. So typically the J in the Hebrew is a Y, just like Judah is Yahawada, and Jacob is Yaiqub or Yaiqub. Anyway, it says, has been questioned by some scholars who propose that the inscription refers to another king, Jehoram of Israel. Its reference to Parsua is also the first known reference to the Persians. And let's see if there's any more on here. Maybe something. Let's see. Okay. All right, yeah, let's take a look here. So it says here, the second register from the top is thought to include the earliest surviving picture of a biblical figure. So I'm just going to click on this and you can take a look. So here you have servants, right? These look like servants here. And then here you have an individual, and you can see they have like what look like fringes, you know, at the border of the garment here. And this individual here is bowing or paying obeisance to this individual here. So it would look like this is Shalmaneser the third, and this would be like Jehu or you know, so on. So as it says here, the name appears as Laumar Hu Umri, Rawlins' original translation in 1850 seminal work on the inscriptions of Assyria and Babylonia, stated the second line of offerings are said to have been sent by Yahuwah, son of Hubiri, a prince of whom there is no mention in the annals, and of whose native country, therefore, I am ignorant. Over a year later, a connection with the biblical or with the Bible was made by Reverend Edward Hinks, who wrote in his diary on August 21st, 1851, thought of as an identification of one of the obelisk captives with Jehu, king of Israel, and satisfying myself on the point, wrote a letter to the Athenaeum announcing it. So, you know, they go on and on about who, you know, this, that, and the third, but this is the point here, and you can, oh, actually, let me read this here. This tale describes how Jehu brought or sent his tribute in or around 841 BC. The caption above the scene, written in Assyrian cuneiform, can be translated, I received the tribute of Iowa or Jehu, son of the people of the land of Omri. Silver, gold, a golden bowl, a golden vase with pointed bottom, golden tumblers, golden buckets, tin, a staff of a king, etc., etc. Okay, so here's the image, right? As you can see here, part of the gift-bearing Israelite delegation of King Jehu. That's this image over here. So you can see they're bringing gifts to the Syrian king Shalmaneser. So here's some you know, extra context here for you, and you can look further into it if you are interested. But since we're on the subject here of Jehu, wanted to mention that. So going into 2 Kings chapter 10 verse 1, and Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria, and Jehu wrote letters and sent to Samaria unto the rulers of Jezreel, to the elders, and to them that brought up Ahab's children, saying, Now as soon as this letter cometh to you, seeing your master's sons are with you, and there are with you chariots and horses, a fenced city also, and armor. Look even out the best and meetest of your master's sons, and set him on the father's throne, and fight for your master's house. So here basically, let's see here. Oh yeah. So here basically he's like, you guys have all the stuff you need, right? You also have the sons of your master, Ahab's descendants. So go ahead and prepare yourself and get ready to fight, defend them. But they were exceedingly afraid, and said, Behold, 2 kings stood not before him. How then shall we stand? And they're referring to Joram and Ahaziah. They're saying, look, if even 2 kings the king of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom could not survive against this guy. How the hell are we, gonna stand a chance against him? And he that was over the house, and he that was over the city, the elders also, and the bringers up of the children, sent to Jehu, saying, We are thy servants, and will do all that thou shalt bid us. We will not make any king. Do thou that which is good in thine eyes. So pretty much, we surrender. We're not going to set up any of Ahab's children to be king. Whatever you want, you can go ahead and do it. Then he wrote a letter the second time to them, saying, If ye be mine, and if ye will hearken unto my voice, take ye the heads of the men your master's sons, and come to me to Jezreel by tomorrow this time. Now the king's sons, being 70 persons, were with the great men of the city, which brought them up, right? The tutors, right? The princes, the higher ups, the heads are the ones that would be taken care of because they were royalty. So Ahab says, go ahead and bring me their heads, basically decapitate them, take their heads off and bring it to me tomorrow at this time. And it came to pass when the letter came to them that they took the king's sons and slew 70 persons and put their heads in baskets and sent them to Jezreel. So they sent the heads of 70 of Ahab's sons and to Jehu in Jezreel. So you can imagine that was a pretty crazy sight. And there came a messenger and told him, saying, They have brought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, Lay ye them in 2 heaps at the entering in of the gate until the morning. So you can imagine at the entrance, you go over there and you see 70 heads, half, right? Half of that on the left side, half of that on the right side, of just heads. Real life heads. And it came to pass in the morning that he went out and stood and said to all the people, Ye be righteous. Behold, I conspired against my master and slew him. But who slew all these? So to say like, yeah, well, guess what? I slew Joram, right, my master. But the heads of all these people here, who did that? Was it not you? I didn't do it. So if anybody wants to come up and say, oh, Jehu is unrighteous, like, he turned on his master, he's just like Zimri, he's like, well, you would be a hypocrite to say that, because lo and behold, look who was behind the beheading of all these, which are once again the sons of quote unquote his master, being Ahab. Know now that there shall fall onto the earth nothing of the word of the Lord Yahweh, which the Lord Yahweh spake concerning the house of Ahab. For the Lord Yahweh hath done that which he spake by his servant Elijah. And we read that yesterday, or in the previous lesson in 1 Kings, I believe the 21st chapter. So the Lord didn't bring the harsh judgment upon Ahab in his time right away, and he said he would bring it after Ahab's time, and he would slay all them that pisseth against the wall, so on and so forth. So Jehu slew all that remained of the house of Ahab in Jezreel, and all his great men, and his kinsfolks, and his priests, until he left him none remaining. And he arose and departed, and came to Samaria. And as he was at the shearing house in the way, Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah, king of Judah. And the shearing house here is, if I'm not mistaken, it's, when you have sheep and eventually their wool grows, you have to shear them, which is like shaving them, taking the wool off of them. And of course the wool can then be washed and then used to make like clothes and so on. So there was like shearing, which is where you would, did I click the wrong thing here? Samaria, no, let's go to shearing, here we go. Which is where they would basically shave those sheep. See, it says here for sheep shearing. So example here, shearing sheep, and you can maybe get a good visual. Yep. So Obviously today you have more advanced materials, but back then I'm sure they had some other means of doing it as well. So you can see here it's basically shaving the fur off of the sheep. So you can see there. Cool. Right. So he goes there, and right around that area, he meets the brethren of Ahaziah, which was the king of Judah that Jehu had also slain, and said, "Who are ye?" That's what Jehu asked them, and they answered, "We are the brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the queen," being those of Ahab and Jezebel. And he said, "Take them alive." And they took them alive and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 men. Neither left he any of them. So he has slain it. He has slain the descendants of Ahab, and Ahaziah is dead, and now his brethren are now cooked. And when he was departed thence, he lighted on Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, coming to meet him. And he saluted him, and said to him, so lighted, he met him, he saw him. "Is thine heart right, as my heart is right?" Is thine heart right, as my heart is with thy heart? And Jehonadab answered, "It is." So basically, are you in line with me as I am with you? And Jehonadab replied, "Yes." "If it be, give me thine hand." And he gave him his hand, and he took him up to him in the chariot. So now they're both in the chariot. And he said, "Come with me and see my zeal for the Lord Yahweh." For they made him ride in his chariot. So Jehu is doing all this to fulfill the word of the Lord that came upon or against Ahab. And remember, this was also what the prophet mentioned when he anointed Jehu. "And when he came to Samaria, he slew all that remained unto Ahab in Samaria." So he slew all the ones in Jezreel, the descendants of Ahab, slew all the ones in Samaria, and requested that the elders slay all the other 70 and bring their heads to him. So he's going around to accomplish, the Lord's word, whole and whole, till he had destroyed him, according to the saying of the Lord Yahweh, which he spake to Elijah. And Jehu gathered all the people together, and said unto them, "Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu shall serve him much." So Jehu's like, all right, I've slain all of them. So now he gets all the people together, and he said, look, Ahab, he used to serve Baal, but in comparison to how I'm going to serve Baal, what Ahab did was light work. Watch and learn. "Now therefore call unto me all the prophets of Baal, all his servants and all his priests, let none be wanting." So make sure all of them are here. "For I have a great sacrifice to do to Baal. Whosoever shall be wanting, he shall not live." So if you don't bring every servant, every priest, all of them of Baal over here, whoever does not show up over here, they're going to be put to death. But Jehu did this in subtlety, to the intent that he might destroy the worshippers of Baal. So it's like when you have a rat infestation or a roach infestation or something like that, you set a trap. And the trap is supposed to basically bring all of them together in one area where you can easily exterminate them. It's easier that way than to try and chase each and every one individually and fish them out, because then they can go and hide. So this was basically Jehu's plan here, to deceive them. And that's what he did. And Jehu said, "Proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal." And they proclaimed it. And Jehu sent through all Israel, and all the worshippers of Baal came, so that there was not a man left that came not. And they came into the house of Baal, and the house of Baal was full from one end to another. So they set up this temple of Baal, right, which was there, gathered up all of the servants of Baal, And Jehu was over there. You can imagine, right? You got all these you know, left-handed priests. Jehu was probably dressed up in a certain attire to, like, you know, really go with the flow here. And then this room is packed. And he said unto him that was over the vestry, bring forth vestments for all the worshippers of Baal. And the vestry being the clothing, right? So basically, bring special garments to differentiate, so we can see all this. The worshippers of Baal, they all dressed the same, and we can get this thing going. And he brought them forth vestments. And Jehu went, and Jehonadab the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal, and said to the worshippers of Baal, search and look, that there be here with you none of the servants of Yahweh, but the worshippers of Baal only. So you can see how, and this is very subtle, right? Very, very sneaky of Jehu here. Not only was he able to gather all the worshippers of Baal in one area, but he was also able to ensure, you know, by using deceptive means, in a good sense, in this case, he ensured that he wouldn't accidentally have anybody that didn't belong here there to mix it up. Okay. And when they went in to offer sacrifices and burnt offerings, Jehu appointed 80 men without. So after they all went in, do their sacrificing, 80 is 80. So he set up 80 men outside and said, if any of the men whom I have brought into your hands escape, he that letteth him go, his life shall be for the life of him. So if any of you let any one of these guys escape, you're dying in that person's stead. So you better be on point. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, go in and slay them, let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guard and the captains cast them out, and went to the city of the house of Baal. So you can imagine, now when it says that they slew them, this is exactly what they did. Okay, they had swords, they went up in there, they stabbed them up, cut off their hands, cut off their legs, cut off their heads. Like, they were actually putting people out. You know, today you might see like sometimes you see on World Star or on social media some wild, crazy video of like dudes with machetes going at it with each other, right? But we're talking about, like, this is real life here. So there were a whole lot of people in there that were just getting put to death. And they brought forth the images out of the house of Baal and burned them, and the images being the idols. And they break down the image of Baal and break down the house of Baal and made it a draught house on to this day. And the draught house is like a public bathroom. And thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel. See, so he used, you know, he behaved as though he was one of them in order to gain that trust and get them in one area, and then he can take them all out in one fell swoop. Howbeit, from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit, the golden calves that were in Bethel and that were in Dan. So basically, he destroyed Baal, he destroyed the servants of Baal as well. Or I should have said he destroyed the servants of Baal. But the golden calves that were built by Jeroboam, he didn't destroy those. He didn't depart from that, as it says. And the Lord said unto Jehu, because thou hast done well in executing the thing which is right in mine eyes. So they don't, you notice a lot of people don't really, this is how you know a lot of people don't really read the scriptures, because from the perspective that they have of the Lord, it shows they're not reading these kinds of verses here. The Lord, Jehu, right, has slain the sons of Ahab, had requested for them to be beheaded, right? He requested for the death of Jezebel, so she was thrown out of a window, and then he stomped upon her body with his horse. Okay, he slew the sons of Ahaziah and his brethren, and now he just set up all these people in this room to be put to death straight up. So imagine all that bloodshed, all that killing and so on, and the Lord comes and tells him, well done. You have done well because you've done what is right in mine eyes. So, it goes to show you, how the Lord operates. The world today confuses like good and righteous. The Lord deals with righteousness, and righteousness is determined by the Lord. Doing the will of the Lord, what he wants you to do, what pleases him, is what's righteous. And he has set that up in a tangible form via the laws, statutes, and commandments, but that's not the only thing. So continuing, and has done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart. Thy children of the fourth generation shall sit on the throne of Israel. But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord Yahweh, God of Israel, with all his heart. For he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin. So though he did all these things, he didn't fully go after the Lord and didn't depart from that idolatry that was set up by Jeroboam. In those days, the Lord Yahweh began to cut Israel short, meaning the territory of Israel started to decrease. And the Lord did this by allowing, well, here in particular, the Syrians to invade and take more and more land. And as it says, and Hazael smote them in all the coasts of Israel, right? So the coast being like, those borders areas, right? From Jordan eastward, all the land of Gilead. Now, if we take a look here, right? Land of Israel, Old Testament map. You can sort of get a visual when it talks about east of Jordan. I think this is not too bad here. So we zoom in a bit. So you're looking at the Jordan River here, which is flowing down from, I think the Sea of Galilee as it comes to be known, into the Dead Sea. On the east of that, which here they don't really show too much, but on the east you had like I think you had Gad, you had Manasseh, right? The half tribe of Manasseh on this side. I believe Reuben was also on this side as well. So as we're reading here, where are we? Right, it says the Lord started to cut Israel short by allowing, Hazael, i.e. the Syrians, to gain more and more. So as it says here, and Hazael smote them in all the coasts of Israel, from Jordan eastward, all the land of Gilead, the Gadites, and the Reubenites, and the Manassites, from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, even Gilead and Bashan. And that's right around that region that I showed you on the east. Now the rest of the acts of Jehu, and all that he did, and all his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehu slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria. And Jehoahaz his son reigned in his stead. And the time that Jehu reigned over Israel in Samaria was 28 years. So there you have it. And this is basically the story of Jehu, and you can see a large portion of his purpose was to fulfill the curse or the burden that was spoken of against Ahab and the house of Ahab. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash, and until next time, Shalom.